Greetings, my brothers and sisters, and welcome to the third week when I'm coining Almighty August. And this week, things get real. Mercury is finally direct. Thank Goddess for that. And part of us starts to open up. This week, you're going to commit to what your heart wants, and the sun moves into Virgo, making things feel very real. From my smartphone to yours, keep streaming for your weekly Namaste Today. Hello there and welcome to Namaste Today. I'm your host and spiritual life coach, Sensei Christopher Witecki. Welcome back, my friend. Namaste. It is the month of Almighty August, and I know it feels like nothing has happened and nothing has moved forward, but the truth is, almighty changes have been happening, and it's been happening at the heart of who you are. So this week, what we're going to do is cast those heartfelt intentions into motion. We're going to wrap up the Leo transit. It does mean you might be tested one more time on your heart's truth. And then the sun moves into Virgo, making things very real, very hyper-aware. And by the end of the week, a full moon, which calls you to open up to unlimited possibilities. So in this week's show, in the Soul Collective, I'm going to talk about how the universe is telling you it's time to make it real. And then later in our tea time, we'll go over what the full moon means for you next Sunday for all 12 signs. But first, let's take a look at the week's moods and your zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is from Monday, August 20th to Friday, August 24th, 2018. Looking at your 5-day mood cast, it's almost as if the week is split in two. The first half is Leo, the second half Virgo. Let's drill down. On Monday, it's sunny and super inspired. Step 27 rules the day, making you want to go out and play, and the moon in Sagittarius affirms your destiny. On Tuesday, it's sunny and solid. Step 28 rules the day, and a moon in Capricorn makes things grounded. And then on Wednesday, it's sunny but super tested. Step 29 rules the day, and a moon in Capricorn threatens self-judgment. Then on Thursday, it's cloudy, overcast, and detached. Step 0 Virgo rules the day, and a moon in Aquarius makes it feel pretty weird. But then on Friday, it's sunny and cool. Step 1 rules the day, and a moon in Aquarius makes everything okay. Well, this week, it's actually going to be a transition week from the high heart of Leo to the reality of Virgo and a full moon to boot. In our next segment, I'm going to talk about exactly what the Soul Collective is making real. Taking a sneak peek at this upcoming week. This week, the Soul Collective consciousness is making it real. In fact, this is after, I think, an entire summer of things feeling surreal, not real, out of this world and strange, right? So usually Virgo is a little bit too much of reality. We get this dose of how heavy life is and how we're stuck in certain situations or whatever. But I think this year it is welcomed because we've had anything but reality, anything but progress, and really not feeling like we've had much progress in reality. So this is good news. But before we go into that, we first have our final test of the heart's intentions. Now, here's the good news. Over the last week, I had said it was time to feel the dream. Time to feel out where your heart was, where your heart wasn't, and hone in on those feelings that feel the best. All right? So really last week was all about finding the creme de la creme of your wish, the sacred dream that you want to see manifest before your eyes. As we start this week, Monday, it's about moving forward. And boy, is it ever, because Mercury finally goes direct Sunday, which means when we hit Monday and step 27 rules the day, you have your thinking in line, you have your heart aligned, you're ready to roll. Now, Mars will still be retrograde for some time. We still have Mars retrograde through this week, but at least we have our faculties, at least we have our mind. So I think as of Monday, there might be some, intellectual debate. It's time to move forward. Your mind might have to negotiate with somebody. You might find that there's some mental Olympics to get your mind to sort of show up. Fortunately, Mercury is at step 11, so we're of the right mind. We are feeling centered, we're feeling aligned. But it's the first time we've been able to bring our right mind to this dream we've been feeling out for the last 3 weeks, and this whole perception of where we are from the entire summer, cutting away from the old karma, turning towards the new. So I think Monday is all about kind of like getting oriented, figuring things out, trying to understand what exactly is going on, and putting your dreams into motion. The moon will be in Sagittarius on Monday, and what's really interesting is the sun at step 27 Leo will trine the moon at step 27 Sag, which is the galactic center during the Monday expression. So what this means is there'll probably be a point on Monday where you feel the dream, you're ready, locked, and loaded, you are excited, and you might see your whole destiny or the next kind of arc of what's going to happen sort of play itself out. So I think Monday is going to be a very exciting day, probably the most exciting day, if nothing else, because Mercury is direct, right? Now, Tuesday is going to be sunny and solid. Step 28 rules the day. So on Tuesday, you're kind of squatting and holding space and committing to that feeling and to that tone of what you want to do. The moon moves into Capricorn, so there's a lot of self-criticism, potential for self-judgment when the moon comes in there. And we're emotionally having to grow up now because we're emotionally kind of processing what our heart wants. So one of the themes of this making it real this week, in my opinion, is that Mercury is direct, so we're looking at our dreams from a very realistic, logical perspective because our mind is back online. And the moon moving through Capricorn this week kind of forces us to make it real with our feelings. We're going to have to make sure that these dreams feel legit, that it all feels like it resonates, that we don't feel any flaws or feel any deception or feel anything like that. So although the first part of the week is about dedicating, committing, and aiming for what your heart wants, you're already starting to feel a dose of reality come in with your logic with Mercury and the moon in Capricorn. Then on Wednesday, it's sunny and tested. Step 29 rules today. So Wednesday, it really is hump day. In a way, it's the hump of leaving Leo. You might find that you are tested on everything you learned in the last 30 days. You might find that your heart wants to give up. You might find that you suddenly don't believe if you can make it, okay? And that's all part of the test. So Wednesday is a hump day. You want to put in the energy. You want to keep it going. You want to stay focused on what your heart wants and just keep it moving, all right? So that's really the first half of the week. Very energetic, around the heart, kind of about launching our dreams into a new reality. Come Thursday, we move into Virgo. And you'll see the difference between Leo and Virgo is very different. Leo is very like what if, what could be, whatever. And as soon as you get to Virgo, it's what is. It's not what if, it is what is. This is, it's super hot, you're super tired, you're this, you're that, you're that. You become very hyper aware of everything. And this is so you can plug into reality and manifest your heart's desires. But it kind of feels like a bummer, right? The good news is the moon will be in Aquarius, so I'm thinking as we transition into Virgo on Thursday, we're going to feel kind of detached. It's going to feel out of this world. It's going to feel somewhat alien. And we do feel kind of change needing to happen because Jupiter moves to step 16 on Thursday, which is the push for our boundaries. So as soon as we move into Virgo, we feel right away that we've got to close a door or open a door. You're going to feel right away that you have to make some changes with your boundaries to get comfortable. And with Jupiter at step 16, that's really what it's about. It's about finding that sacred space within you, that comfortable space within you, that artist within you, that person that can yield to peace within you. That's what step 16 is. So come Virgo, I think we're going to have to all be processing what's real and what we need to feel comfortable. So expect on Thursday to have to do some adjusting for comfort again. The other thing that's interesting on Thursday as well is that Mercury hits step 13. Now Mercury's been direct all week. Monday, Tuesday, your mind is just trying to get things in order. Tuesday you start to learn, and then Wednesday you start to learn, and then on Thursday, Mercury hits step 13, which means as soon as Virgo hits, we're kind of in for a reality check with boundaries at Jupiter at step 14, and we're up for a reality check with our mind. So it looks like the switch to Virgo is going to feel very uncomfortable, okay? And you're going to be questioning things, and I'm telling you that so you just feel okay with it. And then on Friday, it's going to be, I think, sunny and excited. Step 1 will rule the day, and you're going to start to feel your heart coming online. And the real process is going to be kind of feeling out, okay, I've come up with the dream, I know where I want to aim, and coming Friday, it's kind of like a survey of the land. Okay, so how are we going to pull this off? And I think that's where the energy starts to shift on Friday through the weekend is how are we going to pull this off? How am I going to manifest this into reality? We're probably going to see that our garage needs to be cleaned out, our basement needs to be reorganized. This is all part of what Virgo is. And to me, Virgo is very much a task master sort of energy. You just feel the energy finally to clean the car and get it detailed. You just feel the energy to finally clear this out and clear that out. But in the beginning of the transit, all you do is feel the things that need to be done, and you don't always feel, like it can be done. So be careful, be easy on yourself as far as this is concerned. We're going to be figuring out what we want to do. And Mars is retrograde this whole week. With Mercury direct and Mars retrograde, it seems to me that this is a planning week. And when I say making it real, I mean the mind is making it real. The mind is seeing what the real tasks are in front of us. The mind is negotiating and the mind is having breakthrough. And so it's really a mental week of planning. I know you're going to want to jump in and get started right away on the garage or jump in and get started right away on cleaning out your tax file, right? But I wouldn't do it until Mars goes direct, which is the following week. I would wait. I would take this week to think and to process and to make things logical and come up with a plan, okay? Now, what's interesting is, as soon as the sun moves into Virgo, really the entire week, the sun is involved in a grand trine. It starts as a dirty trine with the sun in Leo, and what the sun is trining to is Saturn and Uranus. Saturn at step 2, Capricorn retrograde, Uranus at step 2, Taurus retrograde. And so as the sun comes into that trine, we start to form a grand trine. So all of this planning and all this processing, this is all laying down the foundation, a new foundation of how we're going to do and pull off what our heart wants to do. And I want to say the only thing you want to be concerned with is the foundation. Now, the sun will actually apex to a full trine peak on Saturday. So what this means is on Saturday, I think you're going to finally feel how this may all happen. You're going to finally feel how things need to happen. And so if you get overwhelmed with what needs to happen, just on Saturday, make it to Saturday, because I think you're going to start to feel how it's all going to fit together and how it's going to all kind of come together in a grand trine. And that grand trine will be in existence for a few more days after it apexes on Saturday. So this all brings us to the full moon that will happen on Sunday, okay? And this full moon is very early in the cycle. It's going to be at step 3. It's going to represent a tug-of-war between two sides of your life. And really, I think it's probably the official response to you feeling all the Virgo details and feeling all that needs to happen and coming out of your coma that you're in for several weeks. I think it kind of maybe throws us off a little bit, and the full moon is kind of about getting a hold of it before it turns into a horrible spiritual mess. So that brings us to the topic of our tea time, the full moon. Go steep yourself some tea, and let's have our weekly tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. This week's tea time topic is compassionate full moon. This is already the full moon period. It's hard to believe it comes up so quickly. Time is moving crazy slow, but at the same time fast. It's a weird paradoxical time, but the full moon is happening at just step 3 of the sun in Virgo. That's a very early full moon. And it tells me kind of a lot about what the cycle is going to be about, okay? A full moon is a part of the conscious cycle where we cut away from an old way. It's basically that our feelings change about something, That's what a full moon comes down to. Our feelings change about something, that's the full moon, and the full moon is conjuncting Earth, so our feelings change about something, which means it's going to affect us on Earth. And so a full moon is literally an emotional trigger. This is one of the reasons why I think ER and police force and whatnot ramp up on a full moon, because human beings are literally emotionally triggered in a full moon, and that's like scientific fact. Now, the fact that we are having the full moon so early on in the Virgo transit at step 3 tells me that what we're going to be cutting away from in Virgo is our old reality. Everything we have known as reality, everything we have known as our day-to-day routine, our health, our organization, our definition of integrity. Because we're having the full moon at step 3, we are cutting away everything that was there before. There's no time to build and then cut away. In other cycles, that's precisely what we do. We start growing and we start building up until we get to the full moon. At that point, we kind of shed off what we don't want. And a lot of what we don't want is based on what we've been exploring up until that point. This year, there's only 3 days of exploration. We're going to basically taste test reality, and by the third day, we're going to know where we are over with reality and where we want reality to change. So I think this is going to be a very quick enough is enough, and this is what I was saying earlier in the last segment. If you get overwhelmed with what reality is, don't worry. That's the whole point. The moon going full in Pisces is about letting go of certain things. Now, I call it a compassionate full moon because it is. It is the most compassionate full moon of the year. It's a full moon in Pisces. Pisces is our compassion. It's our empathy. And so I feel like what happens as we come into this full moon on Sunday is that we start to feel compassion and empathy for ourselves. That we realize we're overwhelmed with detail and reality and all these things that need to change, especially things that need to change according to what our heart wants to manifest that we just went through with the Sun in Leo. So I think we have this huge grocery list of the way things should be. And I think this full moon is hey, let's just relax. Let's let go of the shoulds. Let's not should all over ourselves. Let's be compassionate. Let's give ourselves time. Let's play it as we feel it or feel it out as we go. So I think the full moon is a moment of, for some people it will be a breaking point, and some people may need to purge and let it out. Some people may go crazy on other people. That's what happens with full moons. They get mad, they vent on other people. But once you let out that frustration, that anxiety, whatever, all the should, all the judgment, then I think you will experience the compassion. So you can experience proactive compassion, or you can experience post-active compassion, which is after you completely flare up like a Roman candle, you finally calm down and you have peace for yourself. So the full moon is emotional around compassion, going with the flow, non-judgment, okay, empathy for yourself, empathy for others, but really for yourself, because step 3, everything up to step 11 is our relationship to ourselves. So it's really all about you having compassion for you. Now what this does, the full moon on this side, once you have a change of how you feel, you were feeling judgmental, now you're feeling compassionate, this frees your heart on the other side to come to a new arrangement as well. And I think before the full moon, the heart is in this position of like, I can't take it, I'm smothering, I'm never going to get what I want, it's impossible, blah, 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 blah. That's probably where the heart will be. And I think after you have this compassion for yourself, your heart, you will have a change of heart. That's the other aspect of the full moon. Now, step 3 literally is the step of ignorance, to be honest. It's the step of ignorance. And I don't mean to be rude to anyone who's a step 3, but if you're a step 3 sun, you've come to learn, because you have been in a small environment or a small world or a small family or a small farm. So anyone who's a step 3 is coming from a small existence and they're opening up to the big, great, wide world. I'm assuming that on this full moon, that's exactly the conscious change that will happen. You will probably begin the full moon being very closed-minded, being ignorant of your choices, being unaware that life offers unlimited possibilities, probably feeling like you are trapped in reality and maybe even smothering in reality. So that's before you apply the compassion to yourself. Once you apply the compassion, I think your heart takes on a different tune. I think your heart goes, oh, it's not so bad. Oh, there's plenty of opportunities. The world is full of options. And you're going to find you kind of flip, okay, and suddenly feel open to unlimited possibilities. And that's really what the step 3 full moon is calling for, is for everyone to open up to unlimited possibilities, to not be too fooled by the illusion of reality. Reality is an illusion, is a bunch of electrons spinning around each other, creating this facade. We often feel like because reality is solid, because life feels very real, that we are stuck in this reality and that we can't change this reality. And I think the full moon is very much about that. It's about breaking this notion that you are stuck in a certain situation. You are not, says the full moon. No one ever is, says the full moon. And I think in a practical sense, because we just spent 30 days working on our heart and what our heart wants, this is also us opening up to, well, how is reality going to need to change? Day-to-day life, health, all these types of things. How does reality need to change for me to have what my heart wants? Let's start practically picking apart and seeing what we can do. Keep in mind, Mars is retrograde in the full moon. So this is kind of the last moment before Mars goes direct. The thing is you might feel with the Mars retrograde this frustration. You want to do something. You may not feel any energy because Mars is retrograde. And Mars is retrograde at step 28 Capricorn, which is calling for a new plan, a new blueprint, a new manifestation of what you're going to do. So I want to underscore that this full moon is about mentally figuring out what you're going to do, listening to your heart about what you're going to do, but not actually doing it. You don't want to take any action, put pressure on yourself, or be impatient until Mars goes direct in the following week, because you're just wasting your time, and there's probably a lot to consider before you go chasing after your dreams. So I think this full moon is kind of the opening, the gateway, kind of the christening of you beginning to manifest your personal dreams. And if you've been in my 40 days of self-love in Serious Joy, we've been working on building up our heart, building up our signal, building up our self-love. I think you may start to see once the sun goes into Virgo, for those who've been actively manifesting these last 30 days, you might start to see things show up as early as step 2, 3, or 4 of Virgo. So keep an eye open, be optimistic, and see how it goes. Now, what I'm going to do for all 12 signs to kind of help you with this compassionate self-moon, I'm going to talk about where the sun is having you to open up and learn new things. So where your heart needs to learn, that's represented by the sun. Where your heart needs to learn, sun at step 3, Virgo. I'm also going to tell you where you're going to have a change of your feelings and where you're going to feel like you need to manifest in a different direction. So you're going to feel like you need to manifest in a different direction, and your heart's going to need to open up and learn a new approach in Virgo, a new reality, a new way of doing it. And as always, I'm going to put up on the side which sign I am talking about, so you can quickly zoom to your sun or rising sign or your friends or family. Excuse me. Beginning with the Aries. Aries are going to be learning about a new lifestyle. Aries is literally may feel trapped in their life, maybe trapped in their body, maybe trapped in their circumstance. And they need to learn that there's a new way about going about it. There's a new way. Life can be different than the way you have seen your whole life, believe it or not. So Aries are opening up to the potential of a new life. They may not know how to do it, but they're opening up to the potential of it. Okay? Now the full moon is going to happen because their feelings are going to have a change of faith. That's really where the compassionate moon is. So Aries are going to have to forgive and forget all of their past trespasses, all of their karma, all the things that they feel like they've screwed up in life. Let those old feelings go. Open up to feeling a new faith. Open up to feeling a new faith. And when you open up to new faith, you'll be ready to learn about your options in reality. Taurus. Tauruses are learning a new approach to loving themselves. That's what Virgo is for Taurus. So Tauruses are very, very, very realistic about their self-love and what their heart wants to get. This is why Tauruses are materialistic. They don't take love for granted. They go after it. They manifest it. They make it happen. So, but you are learning about what's possible in love. So although Tauruses have gone far to manifest what they want. You have to keep an open mind that manifesting the next love in your life or the next passion in your life will probably be a different way. Now, the change of your feelings is where you feel you belong in society. In the beginning of the full moon, you may feel all the trials and tribulations you've gone through in the world and how people have let you down and how people haven't gotten you. And so you're going to feel kind of like, let's say, dissatisfied with your relationship to society and what's happened in society. Your change of feeling is you're going to feel open to a new social relationship, a new calling, a new neighborhood, a new level of consciousness to aim for. So once you feel like you need a new world, your heart will open up to learning about how to chase after your heart and get what you want. All right. Geminis. Geminis are learning a new way of feeling every day. Okay, Geminis are very controlled about what they feel and what they don't feel. They're intellectuals. They don't usually like to feel. They want to talk. They want to communicate. They want to think about stuff. They don't want to feel stuff. So they tend to get trapped in certain feelings because they're so non-negotiable about feeling different. Now, the full moon for Gemini is going to be to open up to a new future. So in the beginning of the full moon, you might have breakdown, that your career's gone nowhere, you've done nothing, you haven't accomplished, blah, 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 blah. And then as the full moon apexes, it's like, okay, let's just open up to a new future. Let's be compassionate to ourselves about our career. It's okay. Let's open up to what's possible. At that point, once Geminis are compassionate about their future and where their future may go, you will then be open to learning about how to feel different in life. So really it's about learning how to feel different, learning how to feel good, and that comes from compassion about your report card or legacy. Cancers. Cancers are learning how to think differently. And Cancers have very rigid thoughts too. They live in certain rigid logic, and they live in that rigid logic because their emotions are all over the map, and their logic is what like kind of holds them on track, okay? But sometimes that holding on track gets too on track, too narrow-minded, so to speak. So Cancers are learning to think differently. You're learning to think outside your own box. And the full moon for Cancers is going to be about, it's going to be the beginning of a disappointment. You once believed this. You once believed life would be this way. You believed to be married until happily ever after. All these things you believed, and they didn't turn out. So the first thing you have to be compassionate about is like, it's okay, I was wrong about these things. It's okay, I didn't understand these things. And once you're compassionate and you're open to a new purpose, you're emotionally open to a new path and a new belief, this is what allows you to start thinking differently, to start jackhammering the old circular logic and thinking outside your box. So you're going to open up to a new life purpose emotionally, and that's going to allow you to think differently. Leos. Leos are learning new values. Leos have been very stuck in certain values, like they value this and value that, and they can only trust and respect themselves and value themselves if they get this attention, and they can only make money if they do it this way. So Leos are very stuck in what's valuable and what's not valuable. And that's because Leos have overcompensated around their values to make up for their feelings of shame around mistakes, okay? So leading up to the full moon, Leos may have all sorts of emotional drama about who cheated on them or how they cheated on someone or how they've crossed a line or sexual issues or sexual dysfunction or feelings of dysfunction around intimacy. So emotionally, you have to be compassionate and forgive yourself for old trespasses, forgive yourself for old errors, okay? Anytime you screwed up with a boundary. Once you are moving forward and you're open to new change and you're open to new trust and new boundaries, then you'll be able to learn about new values, new ways of valuing yourself, and new reasons why you're valuable already. All right. Happy birthday, Virgos! Virgos are learning new behavior. Okay, it's their birthday period for Virgo risings. This is your ego makeover period. Virgos and Virgo risings are learning new behavior, new ways of responding to yourself, new ways of responding to others, new ways of getting things done, all that comes under behavior. Now, in order for them to open up to new behavior, because Virgos are anal retentive, strict about what they will do and won't do, They must be forgiving and compassionate to their old flaws they made with themselves. You have to forgive and forget all of the mistakes you've ever made with yourself, Virgo. Not with others, with yourself. With others is because you were making mistakes with yourself. Okay, if you make mistakes with yourself, you'll make mistakes with others. Forget others. It's about you. So be compassionate and let that go. This allows you to open up to feeling a new relationship approach to yourself. Open up to feeling a new compassionate relationship to others. And once you're compassionate to your relationship to yourself and compassionate about your relationship with others, this is what gives you the freedom to learn a new way of doing it, to learn a new behavior, to learn a new practice. So Virgos are opening up to new behavior because they're forgiving and forgetting old relationship problems. Libras. Libras are learning a new fearlessness, okay? And Libras have a lot of fear, and they tend to be they just grip onto those fears like a Virgo, okay? I don't know why that is. I haven't really thought about it. I think I know why, actually. The astrology is telling us. You have issues with fear because you're so non-forgiving in the moment, okay? Libras are learning to be compassionate with themselves in the moment. It's okay you made a mistake. It's okay you're running late. It's okay you let this person down. It's okay you gained a couple of pounds. It's okay. So being more compassionate in your day-to-day moment with yourself, Libra, this is what allows you to let go of fear. This is what allows you to let go of karma. This is what allows you to build faith, So Libras are learning new faith, basically. They're learning fearlessness. They're learning a new faith. And they're learning this new faith because they're opening up to a new life that is based on self-compassion, non-judgment. All right. Scorpios. Scorpios are learning that they belong in a different place in the world. So Scorpios are opening up to a new geolocation, a new work location, a new circle of friends, a new group on Facebook. They are opening up to a different calling in the world. And Scorpios kind of were the type that used to blame the world and feel like they were trapped in the world, that they're stuck with this family, or they're stuck in this house, or they're stuck with this husband. And that's because Scorpios approach their worldview in a very Virgo way, very black and white, tit for tat, fact or non-fact. Now, what the full moon says is, for you to let go of that concrete, static vision of the world, you have to be compassionate to what has happened to you in the past. You have to forgive and forget your old heartbreaks. You have to forgive and forget all the people in that world that hurt you, all the places in the world that disrespected you, that didn't allow you to shine your best. You gotta let that all go and be compassionate to your heart and your heart's journey. Once you are compassionate to your heart and you are open to chasing after your heart again, once you are truly open to chasing after your heart again, then you will begin to change your worldview. It'll start to break and shatter, and you'll be open to a new worldview, one that has people you like or places that respect you. Sagittariuses. Sagittarius are learning an entirely new direction in life. Okay? They're basically going to change their career outlook, their future outlook. Sagittariuses kind of are they get stuck in certain fates, like born a coal miner's daughter, always a coal miner's daughter. It's weird. Sagittarius, because they're so flexible and open when it comes to what they believe and why, they tend to be very, very kind of fatalistic about what their future can and can't be. They get locked into certain concrete futures where they end up feeling trapped, and that's bad for a Sag because they want freedom and adventure. So what the planets say is, you're going to open up to a new direction in life. And this new direction in life will come from you being compassionate to your own feelings. You will find that your feelings don't want to be locked in that certain life, that your feelings don't want to be handcuffed to that person, that your feelings don't want to be aligned to that career. And once you are compassionate to your own feelings, it will give you the courage and strength to open up to breaking old promises of people your heart's in line with and aiming to a new direction. So Sagittarius will see a new, brighter future by being compassionate to the feelings they've gone through and family issues of the past. Capricorns. Capricorns are learning all new altogether. Okay, like they're learning how to do everything brand new, basically. They're looking at life from a whole new perspective of believing. Okay, they want to believe in themselves for new reasons. They want to have fresh belief in themselves, and they want to have a fresh life purpose. And they feel kind of trapped. Capricorns tend to think that what they believe is the way it is and there's no way out. And that's because they're materialists and they are manifestors and they are rule makers. And so they end up getting talked into their own rules and they start thinking that those rules are forever. And they forgot that they're the ones who wrote them, that they're the ones who decided to believe in that. So Capricorns can break out of dogmatic, self-limited belief by being compassionate and open-minded. So for Capricorns, it's about being compassionate in your thoughts, catching your thoughts when they say there's no other opportunity, catching your thoughts when they're critical of yourself, catching your thoughts when they say there's no hope, and instead applying compassion and forgiveness. Forgiveness to all the mistakes you made in the past, and compassion to whatever your state of mind is in the present. By creating a compassionate state of mind, you will be able to take control of what you really believe and don't believe, and that's because you've ended the battle against yourself in your mind. Aquarius! Aquariuses are learning new trust in themselves. This is super big. So Aquariuses are usually super like cement, rock solid. They do this, they won't do this. This is their rule and that's the rule. And they really stick to their boundaries and their rules like cement, okay? This is why they are really good at revolution, because they don't budge. But here's the thing. The astrology says they're not budging because they're afraid of losing their value. So it's time to be compassionate, Aquarius and Aquarius risings, about where you've lost money, about where you have not managed to be valuable, about where you have lacked self-esteem. Be compassionate to all of your money and manifestation and fertility and productivity. All these things, I'm not productive enough, I'm not making enough. Let all that go. Until you take yourself off the hook for being a manifester or abundant or wealthy, you won't be willing to open up to being flexible with your boundaries and trying new things. So Aquariuses are learning to trust themselves. They're opening up to a new land of trusting themselves and new boundaries, but it comes from being compassionate about financial and self-esteem failures. And then finally, probably the most affected, the Pisces. Pisces, this is your annual full moon in your sign. So you're probably going to feel really cool. Sunny and cool is usually what I say for my subscribers. Pisces are learning a new way of treating themselves. Okay? And Pisces are very kind of locked into certain behaviors with themselves. And that's because they're born with a lot of guilt. They're born feeling bad about themselves. They're born with a lot of like spiritual guilt that they're clearing, okay, and past life memories. And so they tend to be really rigid with themselves, almost like a disciplinarian. So they'll be really hard on themselves, but they'll be really cool and easy to other people. So basically, the way to get past this is to go ahead and forgive yourself for all past behaviors, all mistakes. Anytime you passed go without collecting $200, let yourself off the hook. Give yourself a full pardon for all bad behavior in the past. After all, the only one you're really accountable to is yourself. And once you take yourself off the hook of past responsibility of poor behavior to yourself or others, you'll have the strength to start treating yourself from a different perspective and not so rigid. So Pisces in this full moon are forgiving past behaviors, and they are opening up to a new eon, a new chapter of being them and feeling like themselves. And this is a big one, probably stepping out of some tremendous karma, and it all comes from opening to a new behavior and letting go of the old behavior. So this is a compassionate full moon. This is a full moon that's based on compassion and keeping the faith. And I would recommend that you just try to go cold, cool cucumber and keep that faith. Because really, I don't think we can actually get to changing our life or making things happen until Mars goes direct. So really, this full moon is an exercise of compassion and opening up. And with that, it's time for some gratitude and good news. And now for some good news and some gratitude. My first piece of good news is I am coming to Portland, Oregon, kids. I've been excited for a while now. I have a lot of viewers in Portland, Oregon. I'm hoping that those who are out there will come out of your awesome nature-embedded homes out into the public and see us. We're going to do a 2-day event, actually, Saturday and Sunday. It'll be the 22nd and 23rd. I don't have all the details or the link just yet, but I want to tell everyone out there in Oregon that I will be there in Portland. This is a great chance to get to know me over a course of 2 days. This is the first time I've done a 2-day event anywhere, so I'm super excited. And if you want to travel in, let us know. By the way, any Serious Joy subscriber who comes to one of my local events, I have a special little present for you when I see you. So be sure to email us at support@SeriousJoy that you're coming, because I take good care of my members. The other good news, we have our final Love Fest of the year happening on September 9th here in Denver, Colorado. So you can see me in Denver at the beginning of the month or Portland at the end of the month. We are actually going to be doing another event on hemp, industrial hemp, how it can save so many of the situations that we have in our local economies and for treating Mother Earth on a better level. So if you can't make it to Denver, no problem. I'm going to be streaming the event one more time. If you can make it to Denver, email us. We'd love to hang out with you. We have a special dinner after the event for people who are traveling in town. And again, support@SeriousJoy.com. Lastly, I just want to give a little support to come and join my personal Sensei service. We've had a lot of newcomers this month. Our love community is growing at a faster and faster rate. And I have some new features coming out around the corner once the energy goes a little more direct. If you want more information and be a part of my spiritual community, come to SeriousJoy.com. And then lastly, a reminder, we have a club on Facebook. If you'd like to come down and hang out with positive people, if you have a spiritual business that you want to promote, come on down to namastetoday.club. We are open to everyone. Our only rule is you must use compassion in all of your posts. All right, my friends, I hope Virgo doesn't hit you too hard. Don't take it too hard. We are moving on up. We are moving forward. Mars direct next week, and we move down to the story we were born to live. So hang in there. Remember that I love you, and to live, love, be.
It's serious joy, joy, joy.